Good evening. My name is Barrett Scroggs, and I'm a second-year graduate student in drama therapy, and I have the honor of introducing Sally Balley. It's through my work with Sally that I feel like I understand how a groupie for the Beatles might have felt, because every day I get to go to class with a rock star. I feel this way because when I mention her name on campus, people automatically get excited. I feel this way because when I talk about her at national conferences, people's eyes light up because she literally wrote the book on using drama to work with people with disabilities. But most of all, I feel this when I'm in her class and I listen to the way that she introduces the concepts of drama therapy. In our Principles of Drama Therapy class, she asks us to prepare an informal elevator speech describing what drama therapy is to a layperson. In true embodied form, instead of typing it up and turning it in on paper, she meets us at the elevator in Nichols Hall and pretends to be a stranger so that you can give her your elevator speech in an actual elevator to get practice at explaining our field. She's a rock star. And every year she inspires new drama therapists like me to go out into the world and create change. It is my pleasure to introduce Sally Balley.
Alas, poor Yorick. I know him, Barrett. A student of infinite curiosity and excellent imagination, beheaded in his quest for knowledge by educators who convinced him that he did not need his body in order to learn, only his head. Oh, what's that? Oh, Barrett, Yorick has to go take a test over at the Student Access Center, and he can't walk. Could you take him? And he may need some accommodations in typing up his answers. Thank you, thank you. Well, that may be a little exaggerated in terms of embodiment and disembodiment, but I know teachers from first grade onward who are bound and determined to get their students' bodies out of their classrooms, or at the very least, tie them to their chairs and block them with a desk. And in going from embodied learning, which is in early childhood, to disembodied abstract learning, I think that maybe there's been some kind of misunderstanding of the Jean Piaget's Jean Piaget's stages of cognitive development. As you probably remember from child psychology, when we're born, we are in the sensory learning stage, and we use our body and our senses to manipulate things around us to understand the world. And then when we're about 2 years old, we go into pre-operational learning. My personal preference, my favorite stage, because that's when dramatic play begins, and pretend and imagination. And students begin to use metaphor. And in role play, they physically put themselves in another person's place and figure out what they're thinking and feeling, how they fit into the social and cultural fabric of the world around them. A little older, they go to elementary school and they begin doing concrete operations where they're learning how to problem solve more complexly. They're learning how to follow rules. They're beginning to learn things that will help them get to logic. And the final stage, formal operations, where people can think abstractly and hypothetically. Now, unfortunately, some people think that formal operations is the only good kind of thinking. That because the other ones happened before, they're, primitive. But I know from years of teaching drama that really you don't lose the stages that you've passed through. It's not like taking a rocket ship up into space and the stages drop off. You bring all of those stages with you and you continue to learn them. So even though Piaget's theory is not usually diagrammed like this, I've started diagramming it like this because to me it makes sense. Your base is your body, and then the other things that you're using you're bringing with you and you're using together. Now, sitting and watching passively a video or listening to a lecture passively uses some of the learning tools that people have, but not all of them. And even discussion, while it's good, it just skims the surface. I believe in the embodied student and embodied learning because students begin to use their whole selves. They experiment in the lab. They can dramatize things. They can create objects that help them understand. And when they work together in a team, they're building knowledge together in their bodies. Now, if I was going to do something very abstract, like for instance, I'm talking to you now in a very abstract way. Usually I don't lecture, usually I facilitate classes, but I'm not going to get you up and make you do things, which I usually do. I could lecture. I could create a slide of a concept. This happens to be the responses to diversity, how you move from an exclusive society to an inclusive society. Or if I was going to teach it in an embodied manner, I would get the students up out of their chairs and have them take each one of these concepts and find a way to express it through a sculpture, through a scene, through some kind of physical way. And I have an example of this to show you. Here we have marginalization. We don't want you in our society. Reform. We'll have you if we can change you, and you can be like us. Tolerance. We'll put up with you and maybe condescend to let you be with us. Or valuing. Everybody is accepted. Everybody is important. I think that when students embody their learning, they remember it better because it's not just up here, it's everywhere. Oops. I believe in the embodied student, and I would like to challenge all of you to bring embodied teaching and embodied learning into your classrooms. I know that you can do it because when the lights were up earlier, I didn't see any disembodied heads from bodies. And I happen to know that you've all been through the entire Piagetian pyramid and you have all of those skills with you. You just have to think back a little bit and remember them. So I want to encourage you to join me in bringing more excitement into the classroom by bringing students' bodies back into the classroom. This is a depiction of what it's like in monarchy, that everybody created it was kind of a pyramid of the different peoples in society, and then they talked to each other, and then actually they think the king got overthrown because they learned how to do it. So I encourage you to bring this power into your classroom, and I think it will engage your students a great deal. Thank you.